Hi friends, welcome back. I'm Kathy. So I wanted to do a video on the 5 love languages and if they are biblical for a long time. So it's just been so busy for the last year and a half, all that. So this might go for a little bit because there's a lot to unpack. And this isn't sponsored or anything. This is my copy of the book that I got probably 20 years ago. Let's see, I looked earlier, but I can't remember. Okay, this one is the 2004 edition. So, and it came out, I think it says in 1992. So 04 to now is about 22 years. And yeah, I believe that because that sounds about the right time frame when I was referred to this by a friend of mine, and I love this book and have really used it in all different areas of my life. But probably in the last couple years, I've been wondering, are the 5 love languages, or is that book, the 5 love languages, biblical? So I did research and I have a lot of notes here, and so we'll be going through stuff. This might be a word for someone, or it might just educate someone on what the actual 5 love languages are, according to Gary Chapman. And he has all different versions to this book too. You can look on eBay or Amazon. There's a whole bunch of different ones because this one just took off and was a New York Times bestseller and all that. So first off, I did a quick search in the Bible for how many times love is in the Bible. And it's 442 times total. And my assumption was that most of those would be in the New Testament because of Jesus and him always talking about loving one another, loving your neighbor, and all those things. But I was wrong. In the Old Testament, it's mentioned 240 times, and in the New Testament, 202 times. So that was interesting. And sometimes when I see that it's mentioned more in the Old Testament, that might show me that God was really laying the foundation through all of those books and for humanity and for the earth and all of that for us to ground ourselves in. So okay, so you'll have to let me know down below if you've heard about the 5 love languages, if you know what they are. I'm going to go through the 5 kind of quickly. Like I said, I love this book. It really helped me, and I even have like highlighted spots and so, but you have to bear in mind that, is it biblical, is it not? And we'll get into that after I explain what they are and what the Bible says and all that stuff. So, okay, so according to Gary Chapman, the author, the 5 love languages, he talks about it as an emotional love tank. So let's say, for example, we'll just use me. So one of probably my highest, strongest love language is quality time. So what I like the most is spending time with friends of mine, friends or family, people who I like and enjoy being around and doing fun things with, or just hanging out or having coffee or watching a movie or whatever. So that's my top love languages. And you can have a secondary one, maybe even a third one. Most people have 2 top ones. But yeah, I'll just talk about my top one. So for my love tank to be filled would be, let's just say my spouse, and if they knew, let's just say, if someone doesn't know what your love language is, they aren't going to know to fill your love tank and to make you feel wonderful and happy and whole and all of those things. They won't know how to either act towards you or to treat you, or one of them is buying things for someone, which I'll get into that. So if my partner didn't know that quality time was my love language, and we hardly ever did stuff together and just did our own thing all the time and never hung out and spent quality time together, then my love tank would be going down. And then the opposite of that would be if we always did things, we always, spent time together, made an effort to spend time with each other, do things, even just going for a walk or watching TV or whatever it is, going out to eat, having a date night, whatever it is. So then that would fill my love tank. So that's what the author talks about. Your love tank, whatever it takes to fill it, would be one of these 5 things. And if your partner or even your friends don't know what your love language is, then, they aren't going to know that, oh, wow, this thing over here is really important to this person and makes them feel wonderful and loved and just special and respected and all of those things. But if they don't know that, they aren't going to probably be doing the thing. And so your love tank's going to go down, and eventually, you're not going to be feeling good about yourself, good about the relationship, and problems will arise and all that. Okay, so since mine is quality time, I'm pretty, I'd say, hyper aware of time, like time management. Like right now I'm seeing we're at 7.5 minutes, and I don't want to waste anyone's time. That's why I often do shorter videos. I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste my viewers' time. But on the flip side, that can hurt my channel, my YouTube channel, because of the watch hours that YouTube goes by. And, if my channel was monetized, then that would make a difference. I'd probably want to be doing longer videos for the ads and the ad revenue, stuff like that. But right now, I mostly do shorter videos. Like I said, mostly because, I don't want to waste anyone's time. I want to get to the point. But this video might be a little long. Okay, so we will dive in. So that might give you an idea of someone's love tank. And that's for what the author says. That's not what I say. That's not what the Bible says. But that's what Gary Chapman says. Okay, so love language number 1 is words of affirmation. So, and also keep in mind that this is for the person, not for them. And I'll talk about this with one of the love languages, acts of service. So this will make sense when I get there, but it's not what the person does outwardly. It's what is done to them for their love tank to be full and filled up. So let's say, okay, let's just go with the first one. So some people get it confused, and I don't know what the author would say about this other than what his book says, is that no, it's the person's love tank. So words of affirmation would be, let's call this person Sally. And this is her love language. She really likes, her love tank is filled with compliments. That pretty much sums it up. It can be compliments about her appearance, about maybe her cooking, about what she's wearing, about her work that she does. It could be about how she cleans her house. It could be how she raises her kids. It could be anything that you can compliment someone on. So, and it can be the flip side also. So if someone is critical, let's say Barry is critical of Sally, whose love language is words of affirmation, she's going to take that really to heart and really deeply and be very hurt and probably offended, and that can really hurt someone. So I have a couple friends at least whose love language is words of affirmation. And they will tell me that, yes, these words from this person really hurt me. And, to me, I might just, I understand where they're coming from, but to me, that wouldn't bother me as much as it does them. But then with my love language, spending time with someone, quality time with someone, they might look at that like, no, that's fine. I'd rather, do this other thing. And so everyone's different. So hopefully that explains words of affirmation. Once you know that about someone, you might want to be sensitive to either how you speak to them, or if you're criticizing, just double think about what you're saying and how it comes across. And, don't be mean or hurtful or any of those things. That's just my suggestion. Okay. Next one, love language number 2 is quality time, which I kind of explained for me, spending quality time with a friend, a family member, a loved one, whatever it is. And I gave you guys examples of that. Okay, so love language number 3, receiving gifts. So I do know a couple people whose this is their top love language, and this isn't mine, and probably out of all 5, it would probably be my 5th choice. But I know people to where, well, I'm not sure if it'd be my 5th choice. So, I had a former boss who was receiving gifts as her love language, and her boyfriend, who became her fiance, who's now her husband, he would fill her love tank constantly. He'd buy her all these things and shower her with gifts and everything. And that just fills her tank and filled it and everything. And he definitely would speak into her love language. I had a boyfriend back probably around 20 years ago that was one of his top love languages. And so I'm not that type of person where, I'm expecting someone to buy me gifts and do those things. So he was like that. And plus, I've always been very frugal and watching my money. And that'll be a whole series that I've been talking about doing for probably a year and a half now. So I'm not one to just splash out money left and right and either be wasteful or frivolous or any of those things. And I mean, I'll get someone, a birthday present or whatever it is, but I could tell, like, if I happen to buy this boyfriend something or pay for something, he would just be so happy. And oh my gosh, it's like, well, I can't keep this up. I mean, I had a mortgage and all this stuff. Money was really tight. And that was around the stock market crash recession in 2007. So I know other people too. A friend of mine from college, her love language was receiving gifts, and she would tell her daughter, my friend, all while she was growing up, and then when we were in college, that, oh, my birthday's coming up. You can get me this or this or this, or all three, or Mother's Day's coming up. Make sure you get me something really nice, get me flowers, chocolates, maybe a gift also. She'd be really clear about what she wanted her daughter and her husband to buy for her. And my parents were not like that at all. I'd have to really think about it, what my mom's love language was, but definitely not that. And so thank goodness. I mean, that's a lot of pressure, especially on a kid or a college student who doesn't have any money, and their parent is telling them basically, to show your love for me, you need to buy me these things. So, okay, the next one, acts of service. So this would be if someone does something for you, and, maybe your spouse washes your car. Maybe they fill up the car. Maybe they get the oil changed. Maybe they mow the lawn. Maybe they do the laundry. Maybe they do all of those things, and, just all the stuff. So yeah, or maybe the other person says, hey, can you do this for me? Can you fix this pipe? Can you move this chair? Can you fix the fan? Whatever it is. And, and the spouse does it, and that really fills up their tank, the acts of service. So what I was talking about before, this is for the person, so the outside person filling their tank. So it doesn't mean that person goes and does acts of service for friends, family members, community members, because I've heard that confusion. And I knew a lady, she was our landlord, and her love language was, well, let me rephrase that. She was a Christian. She had a servant's heart. So some of you might know what that means. You just are really drawn to helping people, serving, just like Jesus came as a servant. And so she would do that all day, all night. She would help anyone out at any time. I think she was in her 60s at that time. And yeah, so that wasn't her filling her own love tank. That was just what she wanted to do as her calling, that she felt like God called her to be a servant and to help those around her. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, the fifth one, physical touch. So that one can be tricky, and it talks about it in the book, and also just people I've talked to or friends. So you might know someone who's huggy, someone who just always hugs and hugs and, okay, or you might know someone who, when you walk up to them, they, maybe just go like this, or maybe they're walking past you at a gathering or a party or something, or they, touch your back or your shoulder. And that could go a couple different ways. So that could be them filling their own love tank, because their love language is physical touch. Or maybe they know that that is your love language. So with that one, you kind of need to know where that's coming. I mean, you don't have to, but it's kind of nice if you do know, okay, that person is physical touch. Maybe a person who went into a field, a career such as massage therapy or physical therapy, or an esthetician who does facials, and they're just always, touching someone and massaging, and that could be them getting their tank filled in a way. So yeah, there's more to that one. Like I said, the book goes over it. And just as a quick summary, like a lot of men will say, just at the outset of reading the 5 titles of the love languages, they'll say, oh, mine's physical touch. Pretty much just because of their thinking of sex. So yeah, that one you kind of have to delve into a little more, if that makes sense. So I was very curious. Like I said, I love this book. It really affected me when I read it, 20 plus years ago, and how I either dealt with people or I would tell whoever, yeah, my love language is this, let's go hang out, let's go to the movies, let's whatever. Yeah, so it can definitely, I think, help relationships to grow and flourish and all that. So getting back to, is the 5 love languages book or concept biblical? And like I said, love is mentioned in the Bible over 440 times. And so probably the most common Bible verse that people refer to is the one in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4-7. And a family member gave this to us for I think after we got married. And so I'm not sure if this is all the verses, but it's at least most of them. So I'll read this. And this is what the Bible says. So, love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. So getting back to the 5 love languages, so what came to mind when I was doing research and figuring out my own thoughts and what the book says and what the Bible says, those 5 concepts can be self-serving. So by that, because the Bible's clear, love is, all these things. It's not figuring out, okay, this person, they like gifts being bought for them or things being bought for them. And so for me to show my love to them or my care about them, then I need to buy them all these gifts all the time so their love tank is full. So, and on the flip side, that person might, like my friend's mom would say, okay, you need to buy me these things for Mother's Day, for my birthday, for Christmas, whatever it was, basically to show me that you love me, and that will show me that you love me. So that can be self-serving, like, okay, I need these things done for me, or I need the lawn mowed, or I need, can you climb up on the roof and scrape the moss off, or can you, whatever it is, take the garbage out. If you do those things, then I will know that you love me. So, those would be the acts of service one. But the Bible, just like the ones I just read, it doesn't keep track. Let's see. Yeah. It's patient, kind, not jealous or boastful, not arrogant or rude, does not insist on its own way. Yeah, this isn't I'll link all the verses down in the description box and probably in the comment section too, because I believe there's one that says does not keep track of wrongs, along those lines. So yeah, let's see, I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything. I know this video's long, but yeah, I think we have to be careful with, okay, well, this person's love language is whatever. Acts of service, like I was just talking about, or words of affirmation. Okay, I need to give them a compliment, you know, in the morning and during the middle of the day and in the evening and maybe before bed, you know, because that puts a lot of pressure on the other person. And, you know, I think whatever our love language is, we need to have some leniency and show grace. You know, maybe if someone, you know, they just can't do that, it doesn't, you know, like I said, that's exhausting. You know, if your love language is this over here and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? You know, morning, noon, and night, I need to, you know, give compliments, buy gifts, do errands, do projects around the house all day, every day. So yeah, I think we need to have grace. And yeah, if someone's showing you that they love you in their way, whatever it is, you know, maybe your love language isn't gifts, but your partner, you know, buys you flowers or buys you jewelry or a nice card or whatever it is, or a candy bar. You know, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. And, you know, I think we need to just appreciate that, accept it for what it is. That is them showing their love for the other person. And as the saying goes, you know, sometimes that's all they can give, whether it's, you know, one compliment a day, maybe a nice card a few times a year, maybe a nice gift 1 or 2 times a year. Yeah, so let me know if that makes sense. So yeah, I would say that the 5 love languages are not biblical because it's very focused on, okay, you either need to do these things here, or the love language number 2, or the love language number 3. But the Bible says love is all these things. And so I think if you can show all those things to your spouse, partner, friends, family, coworkers, strangers, you know, yeah. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully I explained it pretty well. Like I said, I mostly wanted to do this video for me and to do the research for me, just because I love that book. But I need to keep myself in check with how much I'm, you know, following it. And okay, this person over here needs this, and this person over here needs this, and I need this. But it's like, well, we just need to show love all the way around. Whatever it is, it might just be a smile or a wave, or, you know, you see a homeless person and you give them $1, or you pray for them, or whatever. You know, there's so many things. Okay, well, I will see everyone in the comments as well as the next video, and I hope everyone's doing well, and God bless.